Hello, my name is Danielle Jimenez. This is my week 14 video. I completed 85 questions on Kaplan and 30 question quiz on UWorld. My top 3 questions missed were number 1, the nurse works under the supervision of a Democratic nurse leader planning to institute a new policy for the unit. Which step is the nurse leader likely to take? Number 1, encourage staff leadership by generating commitment to the development of a new policy. Encouraging staff leadership describes the approach. Number 2, institute a policy based solely on the nurse's leader's preference and experience. 3, delay developing a policy until the administrator makes the policy a mandatory requirement. Schedule a meeting with the entire team to gain their input on developing a new policy. I put delay developing a policy until the administrator makes the policy a mandatory requirement. I chose that one because I figured it'd be smart to wait and to make sure all of the rules are applied and, everyone agrees with the plan. But that it states here, delaying the decision until required describes the approach of a laissez-faire leader. So the correct answer was scheduling a meeting with the entire team to gain their input and developing a new policy. A Democratic leader nurse shares leadership that makes important decisions with the team. So I guess for this one, I should have looked at the word Democratic nurse leader, and that would have kind of guided me better to the answer. My second one is, during a routine physical examination, the nurse notes that the client's spouse died 2 months ago of colon cancer. Which initial statement is best for the nurse to make to the client? I understand that your spouse died 2 months ago. I am sorry that you lost your spouse. What brings you here today? What can we do for you? I put 2, I am sorry that you lost your spouse, because I just felt that showed caring, and it says here that it says emphasis on that tend to avoid the word death can postpone grief. So the correct answer was, I understand that your spouse died 2 months ago. Because it's caring, direct acknowledgement aids in the grieving process. So the best way is to demonstrate empathetic, caring, and concern is to directly mention the death of the spouse to the client. This allows the client to help the grieving process. Avoiding the word death or not talking about the spouse's death does not help the client work through the grieving process. And number 3, a client is newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes mellitus. The healthcare provider prescribes insulin injections before each meal and plans to discharge the client after breakfast. Which action is best prior to discharge? Number 1, verify the client's home pharmacy address, provide handouts on how to administer insulin, schedule a follow-up appointment for the client's primary healthcare provider in 10 days. Show the client how to draw up insulin and allow the client to administer with supervision. So I put schedule a follow-up appointment for the client's primary care provider. And I just chose this one because it would ensure that they're giving themselves their insulin as they're supposed to, and everything is working properly. But the correct answer was, show the client how to draw up insulin and allow the client to administer the insulin with supervision. So with this question, I guess it says the action best prior to discharge. So of course, my answer is also correct. It's just that the best thing to do prior to discharge would be educating the patient and showing them how to draw up their insulin, how to administer all of that. The nurse must act in the role of a client advocate. If the client is going home with sub-Q insulin, the nurse must verify insulin administration competence prior to discharge. So this week, I just learned more to focus on reading the question fully, such as the first one with the word democratic. That was really important in that question. The second one is to, I learned, you need to be direct when it comes to a person trying to grieve and not just say, sorry for your loss, just kind of avoiding it. Just mention the death to help them grieve. And for the last question, I did learn, you have to read it fully because it's asking for the best action prior to their discharge. And that is it. Thank you.